a huge ultimate out of triple. So much damage across, and it looks like the Direwolves are absolutely rinsing the king. Hello, welcome to week 2, day 2 of the OPL, of course, brought to you by Hungry Jacks. I'm still Jake Spawn-Tiberi. I don't know who I am.
2 days in a row.
Joining me is Bryce, E.G. and Paul.
You know my name better than yours.
Yeah,
I quite like that.
Do you know why? Because how often do you say your own name versus how often do you say other people's names?
Never.
This is like, I always say to people, like, I don't care what I look like. You should care what I look like. Because you're the person that has to look at me. I don't have to look at myself.
I think you look pretty good though, Jay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Actually, I walked in today. I said, what are you going to wear? You said, this. I went, is that it? Really? And then you said, you look good. So this is nice. But how was your night last night? It was a late one.
Yeah, well,
Did you sleep okay?
It wasn't too late. I had a good night's sleep. How about you, mate?
Yeah, I slept very well. What about the boys on the couch? Swiper, how did you sleep last night after your victory? Feeling good?
I did sleep quite well. I expected a message from Bryce in the morning to go get breakfast.
No.
And he decided not to message me.
He slept too Bryce.
Yeah. I did dog the boys on that
Dogs
one.
the boys. Everyone knows that. And Nick, I heard a rough night's sleep for you, but more importantly, is your dog okay?
I don't know. My dog vomited for like 8 hours last night, and I was saying it's like one long stream for 8 hours, which is a massive headache to clean up. So I'm wasted. So if we could just go 2-2-0s, that would be amazing for tonight. But the other thing we will need to get to is, Brandon, thank you very much for joining me.
No worries, mate.
I'm very excited about this. We're doing another shake.
Yep, still on.
How's the tattoo healing, by the way? Because I know you had another session since last week.
It's quite itchy right now.
Itchy?
It's in that stage, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe a few more days and then I'll get about 4 days off.
It's looking pretty sick. But we are also going to be giving away some Rift Rivals tickets at the end of the show in the second half of tonight. We have 2 tickets to the Sydney Rift Rivals event coming up in July. You can win, if you design a sign that you would take to this event, you can win 2 tickets to the show. Submit your sign on Twitter using the hashtag RRSign for your chance to win. We'll be drawing that later in the evening. You get to help me decide, pick a winner, and more importantly, choose dozens of losers. Yeah, I feel like that'll
be the juicy part.
That's the juicy part. Because we're going to go through all of them and go loser, 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 and then we just go, there's one winner.
And Dos, how does it feel being the only original Chief that actually gets to play in a Rift Rivals? Because, you know, there's a couple of other Chiefs members that have been around for quite some time that unfortunately missed out. You got rid of some of the dead weight for the team, and now you're going to just be the... I mean, I picked up 2 of them. You can't say, oh, my team missed as well. This is all self-flame. But how does it feel being going to the Rift Rivals?
Yeah, firstly, bad luck, Bryce. I'm sorry about that, mate. No, it was slightly satisfying seeing the boys lose to Legacy. I mean, Civil might be able to take it to them again today.
And is this your second international event in Australia? Did you go to IWCA 2015 as well? You were there, weren't you?
No, I didn't make the
That
cut.
was me and Ray Deer.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the legendary bottom lane.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like then you've got an advantage. If you design your sign more towards the Brandon Ed of the spectrum, then potentially, since he's one of the judges, you may be in with a better chance. But even if you don't become the winner, I'm giving away mystery skins and Hextech chests and keys to all the so-called losers of the night. So you will take home something as a consolation prize. But before all that, we have to actually start playing some games, boys. What do we have coming up?
Yeah, we certainly do. We have a couple of banger games coming your way tonight. Actually, it's going to be Order taking on Tectonic before Avant Gaming take on the Direwolves. May as well jump into game number 1. It's going to be the boys from Melbourne, Order, taking on our Kiwi lineup in Tectonic. Still waiting on Value to play. We'll be starting Gunkrab, but these 2 teams, completely different ends of the spectrum on what their expectations should be this season.
Yeah, absolutely. But both of them coming off a rough loss last week. They both did win a single game, but definitely want to be picking it up. Order want to be making a statement close with Direwolves, but just not enough.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would be tipping Order for this one. You can have your say too. Head over to opltips.com.au. Make sure that you get your tips in, guys. Do not do what Bryce did so many times the last split and miss. You said you missed.
Oh, yeah, no, I did. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. Just listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. XP boost and RP giveaways. Of course, thanks to our good friends at Hungry Jacks.
I just get flamed so often on the couch. Like I try and cut in early, like before it hits the punchline. If I can just break you mid-sentence, then it loses all credibility.
I don't think that I flame you all that much. I think you're great, Bryce.
That's fine. Thanks, mate.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. Let's get to the order roster. The top laner, it is going to be James, Telly, Shoot, of course, Spooks and Swiffer make up the legendary mid lane jungle duo, FBI and Rogue, of course, AD carry and support. And Blam Blanzy, friend of the show, is their coach. Of course, they're going. This is a team that went 2-1 versus Direwolves last week, of course, losing. But that game very easily, and I'm not just saying this because obviously invested in
you are an Order apologist.
Yeah,
but,
okay, I was avoiding that. But that series could easily have been a 2-0 to Order, and we would be spreading a completely different storyline behind this team.
Unfortunately for you and the guys on your screen right now, it was not. But Direwolves played that one very well, and they make you work for the victories here. I feel like first game looked absolutely just depressing for an Order fan. Swiffer first purchase on the QSS. Aurelia comes back to lane. Absolute disaster mid 2v2. They did turn it around, so we saw a lot of good things from Order. We also saw the downs of that as well.
We also saw him 7-1 about 5 minutes later.
We did. Bottom lane had a bit of a rough set as well. Rogue and FBI touted as one of the better bottom lanes coming back from the Korean boot camp, and had a bit of a rough performance overall.
Absolutely, and we saw this team play completely standard last week, Bryce. We saw Direwolves play completely standard. We're going to see the two of the top teams play again today. Do you expect the completely standard gameplay to continue?
It is definitely possible. Teams at the top end, like Chiefs are one of the teams that innovate the most. They have played these 8.11 compositions. Order and Direwolves might have just been stubborn, now that they've had some more time to practice. Could be pulling out some wacky things today, but 80 carries, I like them. I like to see them actually be played, so I'm down for standard.
I thought you would all be for the bully supports to come back, because you're a big bully support player.
Yes, bully supports, because you have squishy little 80 carries to bully around. That's what I'm about. I'm not about Ornn in the bottom lane. He's too tanky. Get him out of there. Give me an 80 carry.
All right, cool. And of course, they're going up against the Tectonic lineup. Bring them up onto your screen. It's going to be Paparazzi in the top lane. Sybil, a man who has wreaked havoc on Order for the last split. TikTok Shot is on the clock. It's going to be Cunt Grab, 80 carry, and Trance, of course, their new support player. Johnny Cyclone Weatherly is their coach. And want to kick it off with Gunkrab. I actually want to get Swiper's opinion on it, because he is actually, to my knowledge, the Chiefs Academy 80 carry.
Yep, indeed he is. I think the kid's super talented. Obviously likes the experience, but this will be like a good step for him to see just how he cements his role, because I could see him doing pretty well and making APL next year. And
I know that, Bryce, you have your methodical checklist that you put every solo queue 80 carry through the ringer for.
You always talk about my checklist. Okay.
Has Gunkrab received the 5 ticks that he needs to be picked up by an OPL team?
Well, I mean, he duos with me, and I'm happy to do it with him. I have fun, and that's my checklist. There's not 5, there's 1, and he passes it.
So he's good?
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. He's one of the OCS 80 carries that's on the top echelon, that can break it into the OPL. It's always nice to see these players step up and get picked up onto these teams, of course. For Tectonic, it's kind of rough that they don't have their full roster. Of course, Value is in the country, I believe, but isn't playing this game. Yep. And so Trance coming over, they would like to play with their full roster, but obviously Gunkrab stepping in. They had Andrew last week, so this is 2 weeks with 2 completely different 80 carries, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, certainly, and I think that puts a lot of pressure on the top side of the map for this lineup, and that's where I want to go. Little bit of banter between Jimmy and Paparazzi today. Diamond 2 Korean top laner versus the 750 LP God in Paparazzi. Paparazzi not having the best week last week. What does he need to do to bounce back? And have you seen anything throughout solo queue, throughout competitive last week that shows that growth that we're looking for?
Well, he just needs to have a better laning phase. He was getting solo killed by Pabu on the Mundo into Camille, things like that, at level 3, level 4. That straight up should not be happening from a player that came back from overseas, from Korea. A lot of the top laners, one of them sitting on our couch right now saying he's got a huge ego. So there's a bit of beef between the top laners here. So I'd like to see Paparazzi step up to where a lot of people think he says he is.
And I know, Swiper, that you think that at the moment, Tally is actually performing very well as a top laner.
Yeah, I would actually. It hurts me to admit it, because I like to think I'm the best. But I would say Tally is the best top laner right now. His consistency is really good, and yeah, I want to see him get some counter picks and give it to Pappy.
Yeah, all right. Don't look at me about that. Take it up with choo-choos, mate.
That is a pretty interesting thing, though, because Order don't traditionally play around top side. They are a bot side and mid-focused team. He often just plays weak side tanks up there. A lot of Ornn, a lot of Scion, things like that. But last week, their most successful game was on the Darius, where he just carried it away.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the thing about Tally is that he doesn't demand resources in the game. However, when you give him resources, he does more with them than he would have necessarily done otherwise. I do want to continue to dig into this game. Swiffer is a person that last split was filling the captaincy role, still is obviously the captain of Order, but had a quieter split, wasn't really, solo killing people popping off. Last week, we saw have a very rough early game, but then as the series progressed, Aurelia, Zoe games actually looked fairly good. Do you think that Swiffer still is at the peak of, you know, mid laners in a competitive region where he can have those carry performances?
I mean, absolutely. Yesterday in the interview with Claire, he touted him as one of the top 3, along with Ryoma and Triple. So definitely the mid laners of the region think he's definitely still top tier. So I'd expect to see good performances.
Yeah, and I think that Triple is just one of those players that everyone sleeps on him, but the fundamentals are so good, it is very hard to play against him. So big things from Swiffer. However, we are jumping straight in to Champion Select. It's going to be Order on the blue side, Tectonic on the red side, and it is going to be Nocturne Yi banned away from Sybil. Wonder if he gets a Kha'Zix ban as well.
Yeah.
Aurelia going to be taken away by the Tectonic lineup.
Has been the bane of Order's existence in the past. And I do want to see Sybil have a better week this week. Last week, playing the Trundle, had a super rough game. Went for that Tiamat, immediately flashed on the enemy bottom lane and gave over 4 kills to Darkside, who played incredibly well. So you kind of want to see the veteran on this lineup have a more positive performance.
Absolutely. And we don't talk about that a lot with Tectonic, but they are still a young team.
Yep.
You know, Shock has played a couple of splits now. Trance obviously coming over from Academy. Sybil is that veteran, should be the big voice, and they're going to ban away Shock's Urgot. Obviously not wanting anything to be strange in the mid lane.
And because we saw AV pull out that Braum mid, Graves jungle strategy last week, and Shock just pulled out a Zera out of nowhere. And you talk about traditional mid laners on this patch, something like a Vladimir that we've seen so much of. If you play a Braum Graves, Vlad can't do anything, but Shock's ability to just pull out something like the Zerath, mega long wave clear, can poke from so far away. These new weird strategies are designed to beat the current meta, and he just plays things that aren't meta.
Absolutely, and it looks like Tectonic is expecting another completely standard game to come out of Order because they've banned away Aurelia, Zoe, as well as Ornn. 3 standard champions. Order obviously expect a little bit more cheese to come out of the Tectonic lineup, and they give over Talia, something that has been emerging as the strongest jungler on the current patch.
Just seeing her popping off time and time again. I really hope they don't lock it at team mode, but honestly,
that would be fun.
Jake, it would not surprise me. 3 seconds, do they swap it over, and it will just be a Camille. So, for the time being, seems like most of these teams are just going for a standard composition.
Yeah, checking out Gunkrap on your stream. Rookie 80 carry. I'd like to see them give him some power.
And I want to talk about Gunkrap for a second, because he plays weird things. He's all down to play AP cannon, AD cannon in the bot lane, has been playing it in solo queue, played, if you look at his OPGG, things like Jace. But it is still a flex. Lucian can go top, can go mid. But maybe just going back to basics with the Lucian.
Yeah, and both of them are flex picks. I mean, Camille, top jungle as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see Sybil pick that one up. See what Order goes towards in their next couple of picks.
And I like the pickup of an aggressive AD carry. Trance, we saw him last week, have a Zyra game, have a Thresh game, and he's coming over from NA, wants to be that aggressive laner, wants to stick it to people early, especially against a bottom lane like FBI and Rogue. Having that early game power could just unlock this player.
Yeah, it certainly could. Vladimir going to be picked up. Once again, do not know where that goes. Order plays it in all 3 roles. So we'll see how that works out. Swiffer on your screen right now. Has shaved. Has got a haircut. Not as short on the sides as he used to get. A little bit strange. However,
Still looking good.
Yeah, always looks good.
Still looking good.
Rakan going to be picked up. Your favorite support ever. You were a big Rakan player.
I'm gonna have to stick with Thresh.
Oh.
I was a bit like, yes, you're not wrong, but Thresh is the ultimate support. You know, like junglers, if you don't play Lee Sin, then are you really a jungler? And I'm like, supports, if you don't play Thresh, are you really a support player? That's my opinion.
I don't think if you don't play Alistar, are you really a support player?
You have to play tank alley, mate.
No, I don't care what kind of Alistar.
That's
I
not
just
what
think
you
that
do.
if you have a good Alistar, then you are up there. That's why when Cupcake pulled out Alistar versus Up, I was like, against Order, I was like, he's the real deal. That was the matchup where I was like, he is very, very
He's done it.
Before that, he was good.
Yep.
Then he became very, very good.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. And it is the Braum locked in to pair with the Lucian. Now, this could be super interesting, because Rakan traditionally not a very strong laner. And then you have Lucian Braum, which is incredibly strong. But if you pair that with something like a Vladimir in the bottom lane, you negate the all-in pressure from that Lucian Braum. You have so much sustain with Rakan's Q, with just Vladimir's entire kit. Really, that's what he's based around. So if Order do pick up a traditional AD carry, you expect that maybe Tectonic have the advantage. But if that Vladimir goes bot side, then could spell disaster for Tectonic.
Yeah, anything can happen right now. And once again, I'm just surprised by how standard both these drafts are. If Vladimir goes bottom lane, you say it's not standard, but still just a ranged carry with good sustain in the bottom lane has always been the name of the game. And it's going to be a Darius ban.
Yep, Tally looked pretty good on it last weekend, so it makes a lot of sense. Ban away the Jacks as well, so a few bans
Catching some flies there.
flying at the top lane.
That was a big yawn.
It's tough. It's tough being on the stage. You know,
Is it?
Yeah, like, it's weird because you're, like, nervous for the game and you're, like, anticipating what's going on. You're in Champ Select, and it's weird that the one thing you want to do is yawn.
Yeah.
You
So
want to be
a yawn is a
up.
reflex that your brain needs more oxygen.
Okay.
That's all I know.
So he's
Anyway,
not-
it's
he's
going
not
to be
breathing
Darius
well.
as well as Syndra coming in. Potentially something with nerves there. Johnny would know. Cyclone, big on those kinds of, not stats, but fun facts.
Yeah, he's a fun fact guy.
He is.
He is 100% a fun fact guy. As 5 seconds left on Tectonic's last pick, and okay.
Sybil goes with the Elise, a very aggressive jungler. Definitely not going to clear as quickly as Talia as the game progresses. However, very good ganks and dive.
But that's what he wants, right? Like, you don't pick Elise to clear the jungle. Sybil, as a legacy, long-time Elise player, he's known for that, and the Zac champions like this wants to get in early. When you have something like a Camille, Lucian, Braum, all of a sudden you have a ganking jungler with CC. You have CC in multiple lanes already. Tectonic very obviously want to take it early game to order, picking around that.
This is so much AP coming out of the auto lineup. They've got a
Is.
Lulu, they've got a
Oh,
Mundo, they've
and
got a
more.
Vladimir, and they've got a Talia. There is no AD on that lineup whatsoever.
If this goes late, that could be super hard for order. Of course, 8.11 patches.
There's also not a hard tank really on Tectonic, so maybe it doesn't affect.
They have a Braum. Hovering a Bard. Potentially this is going to be another Braum mid strategy. But with Elise in the jungle,
That doesn't make sense.
it's a bit weird on that one. Potentially going to be a Karma. Flex that into the mid lane.
Make a lot more sense there. Karma versus
I like
Lulu
that.
seems like a great matchup. Just two pushing wave clear mids. So a hyper carry comp going to be run by both teams, but one of them is going to be an AD and one is going to be an
Yeah.
AP carry.
That's true. Tectonic have access to both of those stats. But as you mentioned, not really the tankiness. So as this progresses, because a lot of people play a solo queue game, you've got an AD top laner, your mid laner wants to play Zed, and you're an AD carry, you're like, man, why have you done this to me? But when games end early, when the enemy team does not have hard tanks, it doesn't really matter that much.
And their tank stat will come through Braum.
Yep.
If Braum gets between Vladimir and whoever Vladimir is trying to kill, they will be very tanky because they will not take damage. However, if Braum does not get between them, if Vladimir can go under the door, as only Vladimir can do, there will be a lot of damage.
And that is a hard thing to do, though. Because as a Vladimir, you have to play around the concussive blows. If you're not on top of the enemy carries by the time you've been hit with that passive, if you get popped before you cast the ultimate, before you can deal any damage and go into that pool, all of a sudden, what is a combination that can completely wipe a team fight becomes absolutely negated. But they have things like the Rakan to set up the gauge. They have the Lulu to help with that as well.
And according to Sybil, we were just getting the look at the most handsome man in the OPL. I know that was a contentious title when Midbeast was playing. However, now that he is in North America, Swiffer, according to a lot of pros, reigns supreme. What are your thoughts on that?
Sybil's a pretty
Yeah, he's
handsome
up there
guy.
as well.
He's absolutely up there.
Talking about another handsome man, we're about to get the coach of Order onto comms right now.
Do you count coaches when you talk about handsome OPL players?
I still count Aaron
okay.
as a player as well. He's a player coach. He could duck in whenever he wanted. Choo-choos, welcome to the desk. How you going? His microphone's not on, I don't think. I can't hear.
As we're still taking a look at the champ select here. But we can't hear Aaron.
All right, we're on to Summoner's Rift. Game number one is going to be Order versus Tectonic. We're going to try and take two. Choo-choos, how are you?
Hello?
Hey, we
Can
got
you hear
him.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hey.
So I know last week you said that Order put Tally on Darius due to the lack of AD damage. This game, however, full AP composition. Are you stressed about a late game here?
No. We kind of got the idea of what Tectonic were drafting to, and we think full AP is fine in this composition because they went. As soon as we saw Camille, we knew we could get away with it because they don't really have a lot of options to build tanks. And we had a rough idea that Sybil would play something like this because we essentially had the idea that they just want to get through laning phase. They want to punish us early because we feel that is our weak points against this team.
Okay, and as we take a look at the compositions, of course, last weekend you played incredibly standard. Now Swiffer on the Lulu in the mid lane has played that for a very long time. Is he happy about it in this meta? Is he happy playing the supportive mid laners?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay.
Well, You should be looking because we still have like FBI is known to be our primary carry, and he's on the Vladimir, so he'll get a speed up from Simon this game on Lulu, and that's essentially what we'll be looking forward to trying to pull off in the mid game.
And obviously 8.11 has really rocked everyone in the OPL. Do you think that this is going to stick around? Do you think that this is something that you now, as a coach, are going to just have to deal with the diversity, or are you hoping that eventually you just get to pick 80 carry support again?
I would say we are probably one of the teams that is thriving in this patch. Because I think a lot of OPL teams are very selfish and very segregated. And this patch really requires a team to adapt and play as a team, as a cohesive unit. And that's been our primary focus for the past, however long this patch has been out now.
All right, cool. Well, thank you very much for talking to us.
worries.
Best of luck as the game progresses. Going into this, you see, very nice smite from Sybil.
Does pick it up. Spooks has hid smite available as well, but unfortunately does not get the contest.
But Sybil could now get double Scuttlecrab because Spooks is on the wrong side of the map to be able to contest second Scuttlecrab. He has nothing to go towards top side of the map. So Sybil could have an advantage here.
Yeah, and I think he knows that. Absolutely no mid-priority. Swiffer on the Lulu, just farming underneath his turret. Of course, Shock gets access to the ultimate early. Mancha queuing the wave is just too much wave clear for Swiffer to handle right now. So even if Spooks goes up here to contest, there is always that threat of the collapse with two pushing lanes. So happy to give it up.
Absolutely. So Sybil going to grab level 3. Will be able to duck into top lane as well. Would like to see him not hit the blast plant because he could go for the dive without it.
I actually like this because he knew Tally walked over and he wanted that bush. All of a sudden, Mundo has to be scared of the dive. He knows that Sybil is around here, and you're looking actually. Hold on, does the cocoon land? It does.
It certainly does. That's going to be electrocute as well. Big chunk onto Tally. He's just going to be able to walk this one out, and Sybil takes a lot of damage.
Spooks
Needs
is
to be
coming.
careful because Spooks is coming across, as you mentioned. The slow is going to be there. If Spooks is able to get Sybil recalling in a brush, which he is not able to. That's another cocoon landing. In goes Sybil again, and Tally going to be picked up for first blood. Spooks did not have a ward available to go for that, so it was blind and he missed.
And just went for the RNG, absolutely blind, no vision of the Elise. They knew exactly where he was, but unfortunately that's going to cost Tally first blood very early into this matchup, and Rogue might be in a bit of trouble down here.
Yeah, certainly could be. 2 concussive blows. They're going
very
to be
nice.
procced, and that is going to be the ignite. However, FBI just goes underneath the door one more time, picks up a kill, and now they can continue.
And that's just exhaust versus ignite. The summoner spell advantage is there for FBI and Rogue. Gunkrab and Trance, they opt in for the all-in level 3. Unfortunately, they lose it. The wave is pretty big. Gunkrab will be able to TP back up to pick up the XP. But Gold Lead definitely going over to the Vladimir.
Yeah, absolutely. See whether they can get this into the turret, however, because that becomes the all-important task right now if you are Order. And once again, they're going to go for a good double knock-up from Rogue. However, has to burn the flash, and now Trance taking a lot of damage. FBI does have the flash available, can potentially go for it. He's just going to continue this fight here. That is going to be the Conqueror procced. However, FBI will just back away.
And I'm actually so impressed. Gunkrab, first game of the OPL, coming up from the OCS squad. All of a sudden, incredibly aggressive early into the game. Spooks is looking for his second gank.
Yeah, certainly is. However, they seem to have sniffed something out here because the wave is going to crash, and FBI was kind of holding it. Spooks knows that he can't go for that gank anymore.
So FBI just going to pick this one up under his turret, and everything does subside. This early fight means that Gunkrab gets to base, pick up his Vamp Scepter, and against a matchup like the Vladimir, being able to match sustain is incredibly important for someone like Lucian who wants to be that short-range bully. So it's nice for him to be able to pick that one up.
We'll say, however, the fact that FBI grabbed a kill against the flow will also be a little bit of a big deal as this game progresses. You never want a Vlad to be ahead of the clock.
No.
As Spooks actually goes over that wall. He's going to face check
flick.
Sybil. That's the flick there. That's going to be massive damage. Spooks has to smite the dragon, tries to get out. Actually uses the flash as well. Knockup is going to be there. However, Gunkrab looking for another one. Dashing away is Sybil. Had to use that flash, but Gunkrab, he's going to pick up another kill here. Rogue going to fall down. And Order right now is 2,000 gold behind.
Order with the greedy play. They're playing on weak side. FBI base, picked up the wave. You talked about that kill. Goes back by his boots, but is nowhere on the map. And Spooks goes over the wall. Had to smite the dragon for the HP. That means he gets knocked back further into the river. And once again, Tectonic punish.
And just a little bit of disrespect, I would have to say. Using the blast plant to get yourself over the wall when you have no control over the mid area Means that Spooks falls down. Take another look at it.
And he uses the flick on the crab. He has no idea that Sybil is there. The smite comes out, so of course Dragon knocks him back, has the flash towards his bottom lane. Unfortunately for Rogue, he's just trying to help out his jungler, and it costs him his life as well. Very nice flash from Sybil to get away from any sort of return kill, and this is exactly what you want as an Elise. You want to be able to play ahead of the curve, get these early skirmishes so a Talia can't just farm up the jungle and out-tempo you.
Yeah, and you have a look across the board right now. Spooks is going to be nearly 2 levels behind. They're going to continue to invade him. Top side, 20 CS behind for Tally. He's a level down as well. Everywhere for Order on the top side of the map is getting pushed in, is getting punished.
And can they successfully pull the trigger on this one? Potentially looking for a dive on top. Pre-level 6, Tally actually did just hit that level 6 mark, so has the ulti available. Shock is going to push this mid-wave in. Swiffer rotates early, so he's going to have to go back and catch the wave, and Spooks is giving. They know that there's no way they can realistically hold on to the blue buff if Sybil does continue to stick around and invest time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Sybil has just got a good read here. You see Spooks is still trying to stay near the play. However,
Does he flick it? He does.
Has used the flick, and now Sybil just going to walk in. If the cocoon hits and misses, however, he will grab himself the blue buff and get out.
No kill, but he gets the buff anyway, and Spooks is still on the top side of the map. Used a whole lot of mana to try and take down that buff. Used the flick, used everything. Doesn't get it, so another deny. And Sybil, a much better start to this game than we saw last week.
Yeah, and you see Trans one more time going in, gets the door up, is level 6 now. So can play a little bit more aggressively, at least until Rogue grabs his level 6.
And that's the thing. If you see a Rakan having to W away in the laning phase, you know they have absolutely no pressure right now.
Sybil now using the mid lane priority to invade. Spooks is going to have to flick him away. Very nicely done. However, that is going to be the repel. Red buff MVP there will keep him at bay. Spooks out smites, and now the collapse is here. Swiffer looks for the glitter lance across 2. Will be able to get it. Speed up from Shock means that the tether will hit. Empowered Q will land. However, now Sybil taking a lot of damage. Flash and Exhaust available for FBI, but they don't pull the trigger.
That's the thing. Order bot lane does rotate first, so ultimately, unfortunately for the Elise, he doesn't get the red buff. But the contest still pulls a lot of Order's time as we take a check-in with the gold lead. Big gold lead in the top lane. We haven't really touched on the individual matchup, but picking up that early kill, built himself about a 20 CS lead on the Camille. Sitting pretty up against the tanker Mundo.
Yeah, absolutely. Mundo went back, had to grab himself a stopwatch because he's just scared of being dove over and over again. So even though he's that far ahead, you can pretty much count another 600 gold worth of stats.
And Elise is one of the best champions at diving top laners. You have the ability to drop turret aggro. Paprise going in.
Yeah,
Camille
absolutely.
does too as well.
Very good trade there from Paprise. That's going to be Tally having to burn the ultimate to just try and push out his wave.
And I like this setup. Paprise being able to burn this ulti at this point in time. Sybil's on the bottom-hand side of the map. He wants to path towards top, get his red buff. If Paprise can maintain this pressure, he still has his TP, he still has his flash. All of a sudden, Tally will not have ultimate if they want to set up for some sort of dive.
I'm actually really surprised that both junglers have built the way they have as well. I want to talk about the fact that they've completed jungle item before boots. Historically, AP junglers have just gone Sork boots or Moby boots before completing because their clear sucks anyway.
You kind of invest in what you're good at, just make it even better.
Yep.
And
So
yeah, it's kind of Mobi's versus Sork boots, right? Talia, she has a boatload of move speed when on the 8.11 patch, got that extra stuff from the passive, also the cooldown on her rock wall zoomy around ability, whereas Elise just goes Mobi's, wants to be everywhere, wants to gank every single lane.
Swiffer clearing out mid lane again. Is 10 CS down on Shock, so across the board right now, 2,600 gold lead for Tectonic. They're just winning at everything.
Recall going to come out of both bottom lanes. Trant still on the map is just going to get a little bit of shallow vision. This top lane dive that I was potentially talking about is kind of dissuaded by the scuttle crab that Spooks took on the top side. Shock. Nice trade.
Yeah, very nice empowered Q. Will not get the return damage on it, however. Sees just zooming around, looking to harass out Swiffer. We'll get it. We'll get another teleport as well, most likely.
This is a very strong laning phase to Tectonic. Not something you see all too often, especially against a strong early game team like Order. So all of a sudden, very nice start. Looking at potentially taking to the Earth Drake, or might just be a recall.
Yeah, exactly right. Use this mid lane priority to just get more vision into the jungle. You can see right now they are pinging out the fact that Sybil is going aggressively for an invade.
But in saying all this, we heard in the interview with Choo Choo's, all they want to do is speed up FBI. They want to get him through the early game. He has that kill. They want to keep him ahead of the curve. And right now, Spooks with the sweeper gets in unspotted to the bottom lane, looking for a potential kill.
Yeah, And they've seen Gunkrab as well as Trance play very aggressively down here. See whether he goes for the pick. Actually does get snared up. Will be brought back. Will have to burn the flash. You see that they're trying to go aggressive. However, very nice Summoner Spell usage gets him out.
And that is such a big deal. Ulti out of both bottom lane members for Order. Spooks retains his, but all of a sudden, without getting the kill, all they got was the flash. Gunkrab still has TP anyway. So he's going to use the Bork to heal back up, and the kill pressure is all but gone for Order.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with Ignite also being popped, equalization of those Summoner Spells. You see that Spooks is once again being tracked around his jungle. Still is yet to complete that jungle item, so Sybil certainly has a dueling power.
But Sybil really wants to set up something around this bot side. He's invested a lot of time, has not farmed for a fairly long time, is about to be spotted out by Pink Ward. We'll be able to clear that one out. Potentially just want to shepherd his bot lane forward, be able to set up for this Mountain Drake.
Yeah, absolutely. And with something like Lucian Braum that has such good early game pressure, Mountain Dragons around Baron become incredibly important. See, Paprai's top lane is starting to really push in. He's going to be able to pick up first turret just by himself and will dash away. That's another big gold advantage for the top laner of Tectonic.
You have to think he's going to go base. He's going to be able to pick up his Triforce, and Tally has the TP. But Order investing so heavily and wanting to keep FBI in this game, wanting to keep him ahead. He holds on to that cooldown, doesn't TP back to save his turret, knows it's going to go down anyway, so pulls the trigger on the selfless play in the top lane.
Felt like one of those matter of time. The first kill plus a 20 CS lead is really what led to that turret. You could have teleported back at most of the time, probably would have gone down. So if that has to dodge, however, goes back in towards the tether. Will get tethered up, nice slow landing. However, empowered Q out of shock. Just does more damage than the Glitter Lance.
Gets a big chunk here as top lane pressure definitely there for Tectonic. Spooks is actually starting up a blue buff. If Camille walks over there, checked it up, and Spooks actually just takes it. So Swiffer on the Lulu. Not able to get that one.
Doesn't really need it at this point of the game. Lulu, ever since they gutted her damage, they gave her back a little bit of help with the mana department, so you could actually use spells bottom lane, because there was a time where you couldn't use spells and you did no damage, and that felt real bad.
Yeah, that's the mid laner's fault. When they take support champions and all of a sudden they just bust it, supports get absolutely roasted there, but
look at the vision control coming out of Tectonic right now. Have got the complete control of top side mid, bottom side mid. 2 pink wards in the lane as well of bottom lane. So Order really have nowhere that they can send Spooks right now that he can get any control.
And it's definitely hard as well because Gunkrab has TP. Paprise is incredibly strong. He still retains his TP as well. So Spooks, despite wanting to sort of try and help out his lanes, despite wanting to keep FBI ahead of the curve, he can't really force anything because CC in every lane and it could just be multiple members TPing in from Tectonic.
It certainly is, so we'll see whether Spooks can get anything done. You can see the Order bottom lane again,
Oh,
looking
big.
for this. Flick will go back and will land onto Gunkrab, dashes away. Big ultimate out of Trance will get them to safety.
Oh.
However, Gunkrab does fall down to the Vladimir ultimate. So first gank really working out there.
Yeah, trying to answer in the mid lane. Ripped Herald did just die and is immediately popped in the mid side. Cocoon lands, Swiffer doesn't
See
flash
where they
it.
go in, does not flash, does not get to use the wild growth. Mid lane turret will fall down. Now Talia coming in, trying to get something in response, will not be able to find
And
it.
that's the thing, trying to get something in response. They go back to mid lane. They don't continue to push on bot. They don't trade turret for turret. So it's going to be a kill trade across the board, but turret advantage goes to Tectonic.
Yeah, absolutely. And now they're out to nearly a 5,000 gold lead. It's only 15 minutes into this game. And remember, they are running the traditional carry setup of the Lucian. So as this game progresses, we'll still have that tank busting capabilities that AD carries have always brought to the game.
And he's not going a squishy Reaver build. Essence Reaver, that is. He's going for the Black Cleaver, so he gets all that health to deal with the one-shot of the Vladimir. Lucian, one of the best AD carries at building something like a Hex Drinker. He's not a crit user that has to get to that 3-item spike. He can invest in these other items to keep himself alive. He has a Karma in the mid lane who's building pretty supportive. That's going to be in a Fiends into an Ardent Sensor, so this is a substitute coming in from Tectonic, having a very good game and getting
Once
all the help he
again, Tally
needs.
just gets solo killed in the top lane by Paprise. So far ahead, has the Trinity Force, has the 2 kills, has also picked up the first brick turret gold for himself, and he's a monster.
You know, I reckon Tally's sitting in his chair right now regretting that tweet about the Diamond 2 top laner versus the 700 LP Challenger.
I mean, that's what it looks like right now.
That's a 0-2-0 Mundo, 30 CS behind, Paprise on the Camille.
And now it is 5,000 gold. All of the neutral objectives on the map have been completely in their favor. 2,200 of that 5,000 gold is on the top laner in Paprise.
And that's not going to get any better as this game goes on. Sure, Tally's items are a little bit cheaper, but already 2,000 gold ahead. Paprise is ahead of the damage curve, so he's going to continually have pressure against this Mundo in the side lane. Camille is one of those top lane split pushers that is very easy to buy in executioners. That works with your build, it works with your kit, so gotta be pretty rough for Tally as this game progresses.
And I feel like Tally, every now and again, breaks fundamental rules in top lane, even though he's such a talented player. If you're behind an auto attacker, someone like a Camille, a Jax, a Fiora, rule number one is buy tabbies.
Yep.
It just is so cost efficient in lessening damage. He has not gone towards that. He wants his big impact items. However, you can see that because he's not able to keep up in farm, because Paparize is just continually extending this lead, it's going to be more and more difficult for him to stay in these lanes.
Because he's going for the greedier build, right? He wants the CDR, wants the flat health of that Kimmel Gem, potentially wants to get to a position where he's stronger in the team fight, knows he's not really going to be able to stand up to the Camille on the side lane at all. But it just makes it even harder in these windows right here where Spooks is still investing time in the bottom lane. Paparize did just solo kill him. He will be able to do it again, provided he can get that chip damage. So
yeah, well, I don't think there's any way really that Spooks can help Tally anymore.
Yep.
That ship has sailed. So I think the continued effort on the bottom lane is the right call. It's just how do you shore up the bleeding top side and try and make it not happen over and over again.
Ooh, Sybil gets incredibly chunked there by Swiffer, but does in the end just back away, because that's the thing with Talia, right? Like if your lanes don't have hard CC, it's very hard for you to
FBI and Rogue have been caught off here. That is going to be the ultimate use from Trance. Gets them both. However, big CC coming across. Spooks gets off the wrong side of the wall. Now flash forward from Trance. Will get the flash out of the jungler of Order as well. And Tectonic now 6,000 gold up. And top lane, this is going to be Paparize actually having to flash away.
Because Tally still does have the stopwatch. Ulti ticking will be able to heal back up. Flashes away from the play there. But on the other side of the map, Tectonic still with the advantage, pushing further.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be able to pick up another turret for themselves. This is going to be something more like a 7,000 gold lead when this is all said and done. And with FBI going down, especially not burning summoner spells, this is looking more and more like Order are just behind, looking for fights and cannot go with it.
And this is the thing, every time they look for a fight, they burn the exhaust, they burn the ignite. All of a sudden, they have no combat tools. They've used everything and still are unable to get the pick. Swiffer is going to be very thankful that he actually gets his first blue buff of the game here, but a minute and a half left until Baron is going to be on the map. It's going to be incredibly hard for Order to keep checking this one.
And look how cheap Shock's build is. He hasn't gone for something like a Ludens or a Seraphs. He's gone straight into a Athene's Ardent. Last patch, this is really going to be viable as they're both getting heavily nerfed next patch. However, he's got a 2-item spike to a 0-item spike right now.
And it's huge that both of their AD auto-attack threats are big. Paparize can fly until the middle of a team fight, flanking behind. He can get onto FBI. All of a sudden, a Mantra shield from Karma means that he's getting that bonus attack speed. He's safer to blow up the carries in Order, and we talked about it earlier. FBI is the big threat that they need to be able to come online, and Camille is so good at shutting that down.
Yeah, absolutely. See Camille looking for some farm bottom lane still. Potentially caught out because there are 3 members here. Paparize will start up the fight. Tally is not that tanky. There are Pink Ward spotting this out. Will go onto Rogue. Gets the ultimate as well. Looking for some more damage. However, Rogue with the knockup will be able to live. Kill goes over to Spooks. And this time it will not be traded.
Cannot find the trade kill. Incredibly close, but Tectonic looking for something on the other side of the map here. Can they break the inner turret? Vladimir struggles to wave clear in a numbers disadvantage. Will just be able to sit back. Does actually run a gun crab because Sybil and Trance are in the jungle with Swiffer floating over. They do get to contest the wave.
This is one of those times that Gunkrab needs to be careful because even though FBI doesn't have ultimate, ultimates aren't like summoner spells where you can't track the exact cooldown of them a lot of the time. So he was like, I am in one-shot territory because Trance went for a very good deep ward to check for a rotate.
Yep.
So I like the fact that Gunkrab backed away, showing that he is ready for the big stage right now.
And I mentioned it briefly before. Order don't really have very good tools to check a Baron. They have no Ezreal, nothing like that. They will be investing into a blue orb. That's Cocoon onto Rakan. That's a dead Rakan.
And it could potentially be a dead Swiffer as well. If they had to continue
Big
that, it
damage.
definitely would have been big damage there. Has got the Wild Growth. Teleport comes across. Big investment here out of Order.
And he has to complete. Numbers disadvantage. If he doesn't complete that and walks to the bot side, suddenly Paparize has TP advantage. That'd be a 5v3 around the Baron pit, so he has to stay here. Got to fall further and further behind the Camille, who just gets to farm up in the side lane.
Yeah, you can see right now they have to burn Spooks' ultimate to even just check the Baron.
That's their one tool. Barring blue trinkets that can be picked up, that's really all they have. Mundo's going to have to be the one to face check. But when you have a 2, 1, and 0 Camille in the side lane getting stronger and stronger, it's very difficult for Tally to find windows to actually group.
And they need FBI to continue to get items. Has got his first needlessly large rod item, going for his second now. Means that as this game progresses, he will do damage. Spooks is towards a stage where if he flicks Gun Crab, will nearly one-hit him as well, just because Talia's single target damage at the moment is gross. However, the rest of Order, pound for pound, they're just so far behind.
They're looking for potentially a pick onto Swiffer. Does go back down the river. Unfortunately for Tectonic, Sybil not quite in position in time to wrap around, but they do maintain control of both side lanes right now.
That'll be another Dragon picked up for Tectonic as Papride's looking to solo that one out. There's also very good wards behind the Order lineup. Gun Crab going to face check 3 members, however, goes in, baits it out. Able to get back. Now his support might pay for it. However, teleport is coming in. The flank is going to be here, and they are going to continue the chase here. Rogue is the member that is in trouble. Will have to flash away. FBI wants the fight, however. Does get hit up. Will go into the pit. Will use the exhaust. Do they just tag up Baron? No. Gets over the wall to the blast plant. Very nicely played.
And Gun Crab is actually playing so incredibly well. There was a ward in that bush. They knew exactly what Rogue was looking for. Buffers the dash with the taunt. All of a sudden, Order caught out in the river. They do find themselves in control and are shoving in the mid lane, but it's a 4 versus 5. Papride's still the threat on the bottom-hand side of the map.
Absolutely. You can see they just check that push again because they know they still can't fight unless they get a pick. Gun Crab dashing forward. We'll get the battle dance out of Rogue, and now Order in the exact same position. Teleport disadvantage and Baron up and available.
Exact same position, but now the waves are even worse. That's a double Mountain Drake with a Bork AD carry and an Ardent Sensor as well. This will immediately drop if Tectonic get any sort of time on the big purple worm.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that no ultimate available for Rogue and FBI means that the fight in the Baron pit isn't good for Order either. You can make the argument that right now, without a tank, it is still risky to go for it.
Unfortunately for Tectonic, Trance hasn't been able to find a window to base, so doesn't actually have any wards. They sweep through Order's jungle, but have nothing to put down, have nothing to scout them out as they face check. That's going to be the first and only blue trinket that Order have available. So that's their last tool, barring the Talia ultimate. And Tectonic still looking for this pick.
But I think as long as a member like Gun Crab is there, they can't really do it. Because once again, they don't have a tank. They have Karma Shields that they can roll, and they do it very quickly. But they need multiple members. They will now go for it with 2 members. And Order know this is happening. On the way ping's already coming out.
They do. Rogue does not have flash, so any sort of Rakan engage is much harder. Trance does take a little bit of damage from Spooks, and Gun Crab goes over the back of the wall.
That's always scary when your 80 carry dashes the back of the wall, because sometimes Baron weirdly knocks you up. And if it gets interrupted, you just sit there and you have to flash. I've seen it in too many pro games.
Sometimes you just miss.
And you just headbutt the wall.
You just miss the dash. Lucian dash is incredibly short, but can get you over the wall. So if you mess that one up, then you have to burn your flash, and that's an absolute disaster.
Papride's continuing this split push. Assault on the bottom lane.
Tally still has TP disadvantage, so it's so hard for him to hold.
Swiffer
is now going down to hold, but incredibly rough, sitting on just a Lunans and a Sork Boots right now. Paprize definitely has kill threat down here.
However, now it's going to be Spooks looking for him. Gets a big flick, gets that ignite. Polymorph is going to be there. He tries to get over the wall. He will flash. Do they go after him? Yes, they do, but he gets a very nice low. That's the speed up there, and the pop will kill him. However, Baron has been started up. Just Mundo as well as the Rakan here. Teleport now coming in, and they will look to stop this one. Can they shepherd them into the pit? They get 2 knock up. Nearly the steal there as well. Sybil on the back end, very low, and Trance will also fall. Sybil, does he fall down? No. And actually, this is going to be Tally single-handedly flashing over the wall. The rest of the team will now come. Trance getting chased out, but FBI is still not here. Trance buying so much time. FBI will not get the kill. That will be picked up for Tally, and it will be Baron on 3 members.
They lose a few, but it's a big win for Tectonic. Trance is the sacrificial land. They buy some time for the rest of Tectonic to get out. They get the Baron. Gold lead still 7,000 in their favor. You're going to lose a mid-tower, but when you have a Baron buff, 25 minutes into the game, who cares?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is certainly worthwhile. As Order had invested into that bottom lane, they needed to make the play work on the other side of the map. They commit, and they do it. Very nice play coming out of Tectonic.
Gun Crab actually has threat here. Literally 1-3-1. There's no hard CC. Rogue just has the W, no ultimate. Vlad has nothing else. And we see this starting up. Of course, Order sent so many members bot side. That smite was incredibly close. That was a stealable Baron. But here you see they all make the call. Gun Crab sticks around to give his support the dash over the back. In the end, Trance falls down. They bait out another few flashes from Order. So the Braum falls. Shock buys him a little bit more time. And overall, a relatively clean Baron pick up by Tectonic.
Yeah, completely. However, those flashes certainly worthwhile because Order is losing the 1-3-1. So if you let them recall as a group, come back, and you have to weather the full storm of Baron, you're going to lose your base. Instead, they say, if we get the pick, we buy another 40 seconds where we don't have to deal with the Baron. Hopefully, we can reset some tempo, but Tectonic's still just in such a commanding position on Summoner's Rift.
And it's so hard to deal with a Camille. This is 4 members going to go bot side, but you see Order know they have some time before this wave crashes. Sybil's looking for a pick, but they're sending everyone top, everyone to try and pick on the Camille. Try and get a 4v1. You're going to need that many members to take him down, but if you can, then it just buys so much time for Order.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, they get control of the mid lane wave as well. Tectonic looking for a pick. Where they're that far ahead, they should just be forcing it down lanes.
Absolutely agreed. It's going to waste a lot of time. They set up bot side. They have to walk back mid. They have to clear out some vision, push in the wave, and then go back bot if they want to. Because you want to stay as far away from the Camille as possible if you're Tectonic.
Yeah,
you want to buy space for Paprise, give him time to work, Order.
Rogue really
looking
wants
for something
quick.
lands
Wrong
the
way.
wrong way. That definitely hurts.
That's when you know it's a jungler playing it. And Tally now going to face check, will get cocooned up, will get chunked out. There is also, 100% they can. He has no flash. However, they're going to bring Spooks across. Goes into the middle. Everyone drops a wall straight away. Turret already falling down. Chase will be on. Flick misses again. Now FBI looking to get into the backline. Will not be able to find it. Will also have to burn the pool to get out. And now on the top side of the map, Paprai still pushing in mid lane. They're pushing in as well. And this is Order leaving their base, and it's going to be broken.
So much invested on the bottom side for a pick that was iffy at best. Paprise with the hookshot gets out with the turret. Lucian Braum shoving in mid lane as well. And that's a big bot.
That's Vladimir dead. And the base broken in 2 areas. Instead, they commit on the mid lane. You can see Gunkrab just kiting it out. Tally, no flash, no ultimate. He will fall down, maybe. Yes, he will. And Paprise continues it. That's going to be Spooks falling down. And this should be game.
Oh my god, this is exactly the opposite way most people expect this game to go. Tectonic playing incredibly well. Early game, mid game, all of a sudden breaking the base, 28 minutes.
It doesn't matter about what the time of the game is. It's the death time. It's 15 seconds still left on FBI. And in 28 minutes, Tectonic come onto Summoner's Rift. They take care of business and they take down Order. That's
an incredibly disappointing loss for Order. Came so close to the direwall. Suddenly Tectonic, what is it, 21, 22 now? Matches in a row that they have lost, best of 3s, all of a sudden 1-0 up. It's been a long time since we've seen a performance like this. Sybil looking pretty happy.
That man on your screen is the bane of Order. Oh, the absolute bane of Order.
Picks that Elise, finds Spooks early, gets a cheeky kill. That was a very strong laning phase on your screen right now. FBI couldn't really find his way ahead. The entire composition was built around him on that Vladimir. Lulu mid, they had the Rakan for the engage to help Vladimir get into the backline, but if you have a 4 protect 1 and your 1 never comes online, then just so difficult to actually get an avenue in.
And at the same time, you can't really blame FBI because he got the kill early.
Yep.
His laning phase was fine. It was the fact that Tally fell down early. It was the fact that in the mid lane, they were all repetitively shoved in, and Spooks was just tracked around Summoner's Rift by Sybil.
And that's the thing. It was the tracking. It was the team play from Tectonic. They see Spooks go over the wall, Sybil waiting in the wings. That is classic Sybil fashion. Sitting in a bush with Elise, Spooks face checks, gets that early pick onto the Talia. Rogue desperately trying to save his jungler. He falls down as well and turns a slight deficit even worse. And that entire time, FBI just wasn't even on the map. So Order seemed like they're in whether it's disrespect against the lineup of Tectonic or whether it's just not knowing how to play, like disarray, something is going wrong for this lineup.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And at the same time, it was multiple areas of the map. Mid lane seemed fine. It was just a push battle between 2 control mages. Not all that much Lulu or Karma participated in the whole game, to be honest. However, in the support position, in the jungle, and the top lane position, Tectonic just continued to build leads, and Order was never able to peg it back. And as the lead gets out to 7,000 gold, you're talking about insurmountable item advantages.
Especially with a composition like that. When you have one threat that has to do everything, and he's as strong, if not weaker, than multiple members of the enemy team, like the damage just isn't even comparable. And there was no way that FBI was ever really going to be able to do anything for that game, barring another 20 minutes of play.
Yeah, absolutely. And the team fights just never occurred when you have to send multiple members to an area of the map. Things like Baron, things like the Mountain Drakes just continued to slip around. And you really got to commend how Tectonic played the side waves, played to their strengths of their composition, and were able to close it so cleanly.
And this was Paprise on Camille, a champion in the offseason. He absolutely spammed in Korea. All of a sudden has a very strong early laning phase against Tally, gets a few solo kills, and he's just a complete monster that you mentioned. Order spent so much of their time desperately trying to pick on the Camille, and a lot of players die in that position. He got caught out once out of like 4 attempts by Order in the side lane. He was taking the base and then getting out scot-free.
And I mean, he
Looks
burned a
good.
flash and an ultimate for it as well at the same time. You really can't complain too much about Paprise's game. And with that, Tectonic do take game number 1 after these highlights. We're going to check in with Nick Boy and Swiper to get their thoughts. Boots has to smite the dragon, tries to get out. Actually uses the flash as well. Knockup is going to be there. However, Gunkrab looking for another one. Dashing away is Sybil. Had to use that flash, but Gunkrab, he's going to pick up another kill here. Rogue going to fall down. Will go onto Rogue, gets the ultimate as well. Looking for some more damage, however, Rogue with the knockup will be able to live. Kill goes over to Spooks, and they will look to stop this one. Can they shepherd them into the pit? They get 2 knockup, nearly the steal there as well. Sybil on the back end, very low, and Trance will also fall. Sybil, does he fall down? No, and actually this is going to be Tally single-handedly flashing over the wall. The rest of the team will now come. Trance getting chased out, but FBI is still not here. Trance buying so much time. And the base broken in 2 areas. Instead, they commit on the mid lane. You can see Gunkrab just kiting it out. Tally, no flash, no ultimate. He will fall down, maybe. Yes, he will. And Paprise continues it. That's going to be Spooks falling down. And this should be game. And in 28 minutes, Tectonic come onto Summoner's Rift. They take care of business, and they take down Order. A huge ultimate out of triple, so much damage across, and it looks like the Direwolves are absolutely rinsing the team.
Thanks to Hungry Jacks, you can win a trip for 2 to the 2018 Worlds Grand Final in Korea. To enter, head to os.lolesports.com/worlds-trip and fill out your details. The trip includes flights, transfers, accommodation, and tickets to the 2018 Worlds Grand Final. All thanks to Hungry Jacks.
Brandon, you called
out of
this
words.
from the draft. After the draft, you were like, I actually think Tectonic might have this locked down.
Yeah, like the thing is with the Tectonic draft is that Sybil 1 on Elise is sort of like a champion that I thought might get picked by him. And I think that his early game style is just like completely unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw like the Lucian Braun bot with the Camille and Paprise, which like is probably his best champion. I was like, if Tectonic are going to win a game, it's going to be like this game. Yeah, no, I'm out of words. That was.
And then there was a good top lane gank there that for you sort of like cemented the way that everything was heading.
Yeah, so they did react to the gank well. Order, I mean, like they sort of got out of the gank, which like would have put Elise pretty far behind. And then for some reason they tried to kill the Elise, where I think that like they can't actually skirmish that 2v2. Like Camille Elise is not going to lose to Mundo Talia. And them taking that fight, I'm going to say completely just decided the game because like like the mentality is going to get pretty rough after that, like versing a Camille that strong. And yeah, no, I don't know. Like after that, it was just like the game's going to get really hard. And then even like Tectonic's bot lane, like they're doing really well against.
And then
Orders,
the Elise pick as well was a weird pick, you said, but it totally worked in this game.
Yeah, like I said, like Sybil is just sort of always known for this Elise. Elise in Kha'Zix, he's known for like winning you or losing you the game pretty much. And him getting this lead is always a very scary thing, like him getting ahead early. Like he does know how to take over the game. And yeah, I don't know, it's pretty one-sided after that first 2v2 top.
And so, like, I'm now super excited for Game 2 because the pressure is on Order now. What do they do to turn this around?
Like, I feel like this isn't a comp that they're good at. Like, I don't think this suits their style, if I'm being completely honest. I think they should go to what they're really good at. I do imagine Order taking this series still 2-1. Like, I think they're going to change their draft quite a lot. But yeah, like, just giving like, Paprise Camille and like Sybil these weird picks. I'm assuming like an Elise band's going to come through, and I think it'll get like a lot cleaner from Order like after this game.
All right, well, I'm super excited to see what's happening next. But what I'm also excited to learn about from you, we're going to play a game now. It's called One Right Answer. So basically, this came about because the last few days that we've been doing this, every time we've been upstairs in the analyst room while we're watching the games will be going on. But then also, inevitably, me and the social team upstairs and the analysts and the players will start getting in these weird arguments about very stupid, inane shit. Like things that doesn't mean anything, but at the same time everyone has a super strong opinion on, and then like fights have broken out.
Yep.
So I just want you to know,
Fights,
yeah, like if you have to punch someone
You
during
just gotta
punch
do it.
Bryce.
you just gotta.
Yeah.
I'll just walk right over there.
Just smack
All
him
right,
on.
Bryce.
So but I also want the chat to play along as well. So we're going to put the a poll for each one of these questions in the chat. You guys can answer, and because I feel like we need to get some definitive answers on these. So the first question I have for you: when you're making a Milo, do you put the milk in first, or do you put the Milo in first?
Like, I'm just gonna start it off and just say, like, I always put the Milo in first.
Oh,
That is
Like,
the
it's-
wrong
Yeah.
answer.
Why?
That's
Give me a reason. Give me the reason.
Okay, because if you put the Milo in the drink first, and then you put like a bunch of cold water on top of that,
It
right?
makes it easier mixing though.
No, it doesn't make easier mixing, because what's happening is you're getting like dried Milo shit is around the bottom ring of the cup that
No,
you
but then
can't
you get
scoop
to
out.
scoop it out at the end.
Joss, you are absolutely wrong. First of all, the right answer, and I think Jake is going to agree with me, is neither of those options. You put a little bit of Milo in the bottom,
Oh, here we
and then
go,
you put in
Bryce.
the milk, and then you put in the Milo on the top.
This is the only way to make
Yeah.
competitive Milo.
Yes.
If you are
This
an
is challenger
actual,
tier
if you
Milo.
are a serious Milo drinker and you do not make Milo this way, you are incorrectly playing Milo drinking.
I am.
I agree.
Well, I'm just gonna have to agree with the community here.
So we've got some percentages here.
No,
Milk in first, 25%.
that's so
Milo
wrong.
is first.
But
Thank you, guys.
Here's my method.
Can't argue with statistics.
I add an ingredient. I add hot water. So
Ah,
here's what you do.
no.
No, wait. Hear me out, because I'm about to change your lives. You take the Milo, you put a small amount of hot water in the bottom of the glass. Like, I'm only talking like that much. You put in the Milo and mix it up so it becomes like a sludgy paste. You then pour the milk into that, and suddenly you're pouring liquid into liquid, and it mixes it together, and you have perfect consistency.
Nah.
Then you just like shake a Milo on top.
Because everyone wants a little bit of crispy Milo
Yes!
in there.
That's why you shake a Milo on the top. What do you think this meant, Jake? This is shakering Milo on
You
the
just
top.
said you turn your Milo into a little sludgy mix. Nobody wants sludgy Milo.
And no, but then you add the water, and because it's only like you add like that much hot water, when you add the milk, it like dissolves the whole thing, and
I
it
don't know
becomes like
about
a
you,
beautiful
but when I
dream.
want a Milo now. I don't want to wait for a kettle to
Yes.
boil. I'm not going out and getting a new shaker to put Milo on top. There is one way to make Milo. It's a little bit bottom, milk, top.
The verdict is in. Both of the votes that the fans voted for are wrong, and this is the right answer.
This is the right
Right.
answer.
Though I
I'll
also.
with statistical
I
answer.
also support some hot water. I'm actually getting lol ties here. Can this be a poll option for the hot water method? So I'm just saying, maybe there's 3 options. Our second one right answer. Okay, God, I'm exhausted from the first one. Chicken salt or normal salt?
Chicken salt is the easy answer.
What are we
I don't know of
talking
the other
about? Oh.
guys, but
Nah, like
Anything.
Well, if you're cooking, you're not about to put any chicken salt like in your meal.
like chips.
Right.
Let's
on
just say hot
chips,
chips.
on
Hot chips.
fish
Yeah.
and chips, on whatever. Like,
Yeah, but that's no. Let's not put cooking into this. That's like saying like flour or chocolate. Of course, I'll
Well,
pick flour because it makes most of the things that I eat. But
I'm
we're just going
saying-
as a seasoning.
I'm just saying, yeah, as a seasoning,
salt,
right? But
yeah.
like, I put salt on everything.
Absolutely.
So what my thing is salt is way more diverse. If you're saying, can I only have one thing, I will take plain, regular pink Himalayan salt over any other option of
none
salt.
of that $3
yeah,
like
no
salt
white
maker
salt in my house.
disposable.
I don't want clear salt. I want it to be a nice
Alright.
shade of pink. I want to be able to put a light globe on it and have it relaxing next to the side of my bed if I want. But no,
Salt on hot chips.
Salt
Let
on
me
hot
just-
okay, yeah. So
Chicken salt.
But,
Yes.
Okay, so obviously on hot chips, chicken salt 95% of the vote.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But Jake, I agree with you. Like a pink Himalayan, I have rock pink Himalayan
Yeah.
and a grater, like a hand, and you grate
See,
like
okay.
like a parmesan.
You just like the hardest way to make everything. You have to boil the kettle to make a Milo. You have to grind
I just
your
like-
own
No wonder
salt
why you're not
rock.
getting any
he's
sleep.
one of those people. That, he's one of those people that you're like, do you want a coffee? And you're like, yeah, I'll have a coffee. And he gets out his AeroPress and he's grinding it
very
off,
true.
and it's
I like-
dripping through. And
All my condiments, I like just it has to have an element of this. Whatever's going
Just
on
has to be
here,
different,
a
unique.
dusting of Milo, shaving the rock salt of the Himalayan. But look, I mean, the chat has clearly spoken. 95% for
Yep.
chicken salt,
Chat is
and I
correct.
think we all agree on
as
hot
long
chips.
as there's a lot of chicken salt. Like, if I get chicken salt on chips,
Extra.
I want my chips to look like Lamingtons.
KFC.
The
Like-
chips need to
Aw.
go
KFC
from
chips
the
for
chips
us.
need to go from whatever the hell the color of cooked potato is to yellow.
Yellow, yeah.
they absolutely.
Like, normal people get a box of chips and then like some salt over the top. I get a bag of salt and then just chuck a couple of chips in there.
Peckett says, these are some fancy boys. And then Cold567 says, how's the latest LOL meta going? We'll get to that. We're talking about the important things first. But yeah, chat's going off for chicken salt, and apparently rock salt is a very close second. Okay, the third one right answer. I feel like this is potentially the least contentious, but will also could provoke the biggest fights. Party pie or mini sausage roll?
Oh, party. I'm going to have to go with party pie. Like,
what? The game is called One Right Answer. You picked the wrong one. Explain yourself.
I just like the meat mince. Like, no matter, like, I don't.
No one's arguing against liking the meat mince.
I don't like the dryness of a sausage roll.
But that's why you have the sauce. See, again, it's this.
But the sauce in the pie is just even better.
My argument against that is the fact that if you have a cold, I'm going, like everyone loves a meat pie, right? But if you're going like a mini meat party pie or a sausage roll, I've gone to parties where it's like they did not put that pie in the oven long enough. So a cold meat pie to me is worse than a cold sausage roll.
And I was going to say, it actually takes, I have so much respect for people that get meat pies right. Because there is a high variance. There's so many things you can do to a meat pie, and then there's only a tiny slither, which is like the perfectly crisp outside, but edible inside. I've been to so many parties where I'm like, I'll just have a meat pie, try and eat it, and then I have lava in my mouth, and there's nothing to do with the lava.
Absolutely.
You know the best way to make a meat pie? You put it in the microwave.
Oh.
You wrap it up. You wrap it up with
You
paper
animal.
really tightly. Put it in the microwave. See, Babip showed me this, and I'm just completely onto it.
and-
It takes 4 minutes, and you got a meat pie just ready to eat.
But it's all like soft and like.
It's not soft. It's crispy.
I'm just not about either
When do I
of
do
them.
this?
When do you add the unique ingredients that you do?
Maybe this is just un-Australian, but I'm not about party pies or sausage
You're
rolls.
right,
Like,
that is un-Australian,
just
and I'm not going to let
about
that
it.
kind of talk happen on
It's
here.
called one right answer, not no right answer.
Well, in the first question, I was like, the third answer is correct, and this one, none of them are done.
Army says, Nick Boy, stop making assumptions about the warmth of the pie. Never. That's the whole point. As Jake pointed out, that's the whole art of getting it right is the temperature. And also, they're much messier to eat than just a sausage roll. You're not going to get anything dripping on your nice party dress. So moving on now. So one right answer, I feel like a resounding success. We basically disagree with the chat every single time. But, you know, things will learn. Now, we've also got the Rift Rivals competition coming up. We're going to be judging that in the second half of tonight's show. You, though, Brandon, you've made an example sign
would
to
you like me to
show
show
off. Yeah, for the people to give some inspiration.
So we've got the Rift Rivals awards ceremony, which I did mess up. Wait, here we go. So I messed up the number 2 here, so don't worry about that. But here's the Oceania on top, and we have Order watching from the distance, having some tears dropping down, and the beautiful crowd.
The
Mate,
crowd.
What do you think about
If
that one?
Order keeps playing this way, they're not even going to get to watch from a distance.
They came fourth. They don't get to go to Rift Rivals.
Mate,
they just lost.
They
Like,
just lost to Tectonic. They might have to be scrimming whilst Rift Rivals is on, begging Southeast Asian teams for scrims. However, we are about to get into game 2, I assume. Are we done with the other people? Yes. The ear in my voice has said we're going to Champion Select right now. Yeah, all right. Stick with us, guys. We have more League of Legends. It was Tectonic picking up a very clean game 1. Now onto the blue.